So it is December the 27th in the year 2024. Just one day after Boxing Day, that I must admit here in Georgetown, Guyana, I had a very enjoyable Boxing Day. We had a number of our family members that came over. Lots of food, lots of drink. So no complaints on my part. So I was wondering if the VP, Jagdeo, would have been holding his press conference today, and lo and behold, I said he would have been taking a rest. And lo and behold, the gentleman did hold a press conference today. I remember in his opening dialogue, he was saying that people were texting me on his phone, inquiring for me whether he would be holding his press conference, because remember yesterday would have been a holiday, so he decided to do his press conference today. My focus on his press conference today is he was speaking about a cash grant registration. The Guyanese critic had asked him about people who are, for example, working on sea, those who are abroad, and whether or not they will be having another round of registration. From what I gathered from the VP, yes, there's going to be another round of registration, but I think they will be waiting on the budget. When the budget for next year passes, apparently the money allocated for the next set of the next round of registration, according to what I understand it, maybe in the form of a supplementary budget in terms of taking care of this next round of registration, as well as crash grants. So, as I was saying, some of my workmates, they were thinking that I was coming to Guyana to collect that 500 US crash grant, and I told them no, we bought our tickets since March. So it's ridiculous to think that I would be spending so much of money to come here just to collect 500 US. So it's this as well. Some people were trying to urge us to register, but I see that's not going to happen until after the budget. The other thing the Guyanese critic had inquired from him is about the Stabroek news and the Kaieteur news. The critic wanted to know when the government was going to be stop giving the two newspapers that the government would view as anti-government. The critic was wondering when the government would stop giving them advertisements, because apparently they're saying that the bulk of the income is from government advertisements. And I think the critic was trying to push the VP to admit that it's time to funnel monies towards social media platforms, especially those, for instance, like his platform that have a lot of viewership, a lot of subscribers. The VP, as you will see in the video, admitted that yes, for the new year, they may be thinking about channeling financial resources towards those social media platforms that have a large following. So that's what I wanted to showcase today. And just in case I didn't get a chance, to wish everyone all the best for the remaining part of the year and a healthy and prosperous New Year 2025.
Dr. Jagdeo, Michael Rodriguez for Daybreak News. Going back to the cash grant, a lot of people might have fallen out of the net of registration, being out of the country, fishermen at sea and so on. What is going to be in place to deal with those persons? A lot of people are asking the question.
If you miss the number of days that those registering people were in your community, you would have another opportunity. We're going to make sure that we announce a supplementary kind of approach, or people may be able to go to the post office, wherever. But you're not going to lose the money if you didn't get an opportunity to register. For example, you're busy on that day or those days, you're out of the country or you're at sea or somewhere else. So the fishermen and the others don't have to worry, or the miners. For example, if you're a miner and you miss the area, you don't have to worry about that.
Dr. Jagdeo, secondly, you come 52 times a year holding a press conference, mainly to dispel misinformation by two main media entities, newspapers mainly, that your government is the biggest financiers of. When are you going to keep your promise of making a level playing field as it relates to media, taking into consideration social media is new media, or are you reneging on that promise?
No, I think in the new budget we'd have to do that. We'd have to look at social media and spend more advertising dollars on social media and those who have reach in the social media. Because the ultimate aim is to reach the citizens of the country. It's not to support a particular entity. And those who reach people, then they should also be able to monetize their platforms and get state support for them. The traditional media often sees this as their monopoly, and they talk about, if you move away from them, like I spoke about Glenn Lal. Glenn Lal has announced he is forming a political party, and he still expects the same amount of private ads and public ads to his paper. We didn't even touch it as yet, but it should not be as a political newspaper. But they've come to almost expect this as a God-given right. They talk about competition and everything else, but it's a God-given right that they must have all of these things. I think we also need to amend some of the laws which speak of, for example, the Procurement Act, which says that you have to advertise in 2 newspapers or something like that. So I think we need to do that, to say we need to probably advertise widely rather than just 2 newspapers, for it to be acceptable. I think that has to change in the new year. We need to reach more of our people, and some of our people don't even read the newspapers, frankly speaking. Most of our people, in fact, based on a survey, don't read newspapers. They get their news from social media. So you're absolutely right. But on the fact, we are not doing this to kill any newspaper, even if they're hostile to us. We're painfully aware that we live in a democracy, and people will have different views, and they will try to distort views. Glenn Lal has a political motive, and so his whole program is not to get to the truth or to even understand the challenges of the oil and gas sector. He wouldn't even understand it if you explain to him. But it is to serve a political interest. And if a newspaper has a particular editorial policy to help political parties or a particular political party, there's nothing you can do about it except what we're doing every week, give people an alternate view. So then when they read these stories, then they can see how biased they are. That's all I can do here, which is to give people another perspective. Because if they don't have that perspective, they may actually believe that the people who try to steal the elections are the champion of democracy and who've had a history of stealing elections for all their lives, being the champion of democracy. If you don't do that, especially young people.